toy spot, we are having a look at the DC Collectibles, The Flash, Captain Cold. Captain Cold comes with interchangeable hands as well as his freeze blast gun, and is the continuation from the Flash figures that we started with the original Flash release. It's also showing as number 2, indicated down at the bottom of the package. On the side, there's a picture of what Captain Cold is from the show itself, and on the back, the other figure available was the Flash, which we've already had a look at. Both, well, Captain Cold sculpted by Eric Sosa. Flash was sculpted by Gentle Giant Studios. Spot's going to take a break and get this opened up. When we come back, though, we're going to get a better look at the Flash, Captain Cold. Don't go anywhere, guys. There's more heading your way. Stay tuned. When it comes to Captain Cold's design, I think it's a pretty good, and I'm thinking about really more the series than the figure itself, because the figure does a good job of looking like the Captain Cold from the series. But I think taking the design of Captain Cold, as long as you really kept Captain Cold in a parka, I think he was a pretty easy character to translate into, you know, a real life embodiment of the character without him looking overly ridiculous. You know, some of the other villains, really from the whole DC universe as a whole, some villains are a little harder to translate to a real world look. And I mentioned this before with characters like, well, like Deadshot. Deadshot, I think, just looked bad when it came to the Arrow version of him. I think Captain Cold, though, translated well for a figure. And essentially, really, all it is just a guy wearing a parka. That embodies Captain Cold. Also, the glasses are there as well. As it goes for figure form, there's not really a lot of color, surprisingly enough, except for the parka. The parka is the only thing that's really popping on the figure. The rest of it is mostly all black. He's got like a kind of a black, kind of military turtleneck underneath, military shirt. He's got some straps going on there as well, and carries over into his more military kind of SWAT-like pants. I say SWAT-like pants, but it's kind of like that more tactical kind of outfit that you would see. And then he's got the blue parka over top of it. The fur trim doesn't quite gel as realistic looking. It ends up looking a little too, I think, foamy. It looks less like fur and a little more like foam. And I wonder if maybe the culprit is just because there's not enough texture to the fur trim to give it the look that it's, you know, that it's real fur. So that's a little thing that I would probably say is the weakness to this figure. The face is good, though. And I also dig the blue metallic, it's almost like a glitter metallic that they put on his goggles. And similar to Arrow, when we had a look at the Arrow figure, you could theoretically pull back the parka hoodie to reveal his face underneath. Although there's a lot of resistance because this is so tight, there's no allotment of clearance that you could have the parka hoodie all the way down. As you can see, when you push it down, it wants to push itself back over top, but I mean, that's okay. When it comes to accessories, Captain Cold comes with, of course, his trusty freeze gun. A nice updated take to Captain Cold's original freeze gun that probably looked a little more ridiculous if it would translate completely to, you know, comic or to a live action form. The paint's good on it. It's got like little yellow accent points on the front. And it's not quite gray, and it's not quite black. It's almost like it's probably like a black plastic that they've washed over with like a darker gray. It gives it a weathered look, and it gives it more of a realistic look as opposed to just making it completely black or completely all silver. I was going to say the hand that holds said weapon, unfortunately, is not on him currently, but Captain Cold does come with 2 extra pairs of interchangeable hands. One with a trigger finger, and one just more like a gripping sort of hand, and he gets 2 of those. So we can go ahead and wiggle off the hand. It just pops off the socket, just ball joint, fairly easy, and put the correct one on. And then we can go ahead and put, pardon my hand for a second. I'm going to just put the blaster into his hand, and it struggles. There we go. It's very tight. You can see he fits it, and his finger fits perfectly right at the point where the trigger should be. So it's a nice touch. He doesn't really come with any other accessories, so Why he has so many extra hands is kind of baffling to me. I don't know why they would have given him so many extra hands, but it's nice that they would have given extra hands for Captain Cold, though I don't know if I would say he necessarily needs it. When it comes to his articulation, if we have to move back the hood for a second, he does technically have a ball joint in the head, but it would involve you doing exactly what I'm doing right now, holding back the hood and adjusting the head before putting the hood back on. The shoulders, luckily, are a little easier to accomplish. They move out fairly easy. You can also rotate them all the way around. He has a bend in the elbow, which also rotates at the forearm, but you'll see when you bend the elbow, they've only allotted that much clearance between the chunk sculpt of the bottom sleeve and the top of the sleeve that you can only bend it to about there. Not a big thing for me, but just want to point that out to you. Little ball joint in the wrists, as we've already had a look at. He has what kind of would be a waist swivel, although it's really stiff, and I don't know if it's just on my figure. Maybe, oh, you know what? I don't think he actually has one because of where the sculpt on the shirt ends. So he doesn't have any articulation there, but as you can see, his legs move really easy, no issues, no qualms there at all. And then for his legs, he's got the top swivel cut in the thigh. He has a double hinge in the knee. And then finally, he has a hinge and a rotation in the foot. Of all the villains, I think, that have battled and done fisticuffs with the Flash, I think Captain Cold's one of my favorites. It might be a little ridiculous, yes. He's a guy with a poncho and parka wearing, and he fires a nice gun, and a little more ridiculous, yes. But you know what? I think a lot of Flash's villains, to be honest, are a little more on the ridiculous side. The Top, anybody? Trickster? Captain Cold, though, is still one of my favorite villains from the DC Universe, if I don't count like the big tier characters like, you know, the Jokers, the Two-Faces, the Clayfaces. When we start talking about Flash, Captain Cold's usually the first villain that I think of as my personal favorite. The figure is pretty good. The fur could have been done a little bit better on the hood. There's not really a lot to be said for paint on the figure, but at the end of the day, he looks pretty much what he looks like in the show, just in figure form. Today's Toy Spot, we were having a look at the DC Collectibles, The Flash. We weren't looking at Flash, though. We were looking at Captain Cold. Stay tuned, guys. Spot's going to have more Toy Spots in your way. As always, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.